Welcome to the June 12th, 2017 school committee meeting. We do not have a recording secretary tonight, so we are going to do the roll call and we're going to do the minutes by the video record. So we'll have to take a vote for that, but in the opening, I would like to just go around the room and acknowledge the presence of everyone here. Just announce your name and present.
Spiro Thomo, present.
Ray Page, present.
William Bishop, present.
Amelia Peliquin, present.
Tanya Duval, present.
And Scott Lazo, excused.
And Como. Como?
Who?
Como.
Como?
Como.
He's excused as well?
He's on his way.
Oh, he's on his way. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so let's have a welcome and pledge of allegiance. Okay, agenda item number 3, public input. Is there anybody from the public that would like to address the school committee assembly this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to, we're going to actually insert an agenda item in here I will entertain a motion to use the video record to construct the minutes for tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 4, discussion of the minutes from the May 2nd, 2017 meeting. Any discussion of the minutes from the May 2nd, 2017
I'd like to table
meeting?
that, Dr. Page. I haven't seen them. I don't think anybody's seen them, so I don't know how about it.
No.
Okay, so we'd like to entertain a motion to table the discussion of minutes from the May 2nd, 2017 meeting.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 5, new business. A, receiver superintendent updates. Mr. Russell Johnson.
Thank you, Dr. Page. A few things to update the committee on, and really appreciate your presence here on such a warm evening in this room, but it's because there are a lot of great things happening in the district, a lot of activity here at the end of the school year that I think just excites us all, to be honest with you. The first thing that I want to update you on are some recent additions to our administrative team here in Southbridge Public Schools. So I want to read to you a statement that we have about some new appointments for 3 members of the administrative central office team. First, we have Ms. Margot Farrick. Ms. Farrick has been appointed to the role of Assistant Superintendent of Student Services for the district. In this role, Ms. Farrick will oversee special education, English language learners, and parent and family engagement. A veteran educator and licensed social worker, Ms. Farrick currently is the principal of the Career Academy, grades 9 through 12, and the Cardinal O'Connell Alternative Schools for grades 5 through 8 in the Lowell Public Schools. And she will begin full-time in the district on July 3rd, 2017. And I'm very pleased that Ms. Farrick has already started working with us very deliberately. She's been in to do little odds and ends, things that she can start working on now to prepare herself for taking on that role on July 3rd. Secondly, reporting to Ms. Farrick, Mr. Javier Gutierrez has been appointed Director of Parent and Family Engagement effective May 29th. Prior to his start in Southbridge, Mr. Gutierrez worked in the New Bedford Public Schools as the Chief of Operations at New Bedford High School. A native Spanish speaker, Mr. Gutierrez also brings experience from his work as a wraparound coordinator in Worcester Public Schools. And finally, I am pleased to announce that Ms. Judy Medina has been appointed to succeed Ms. Emily Mateo as principal of Charlton Street School after Ms. Mantaneo retires at the end of this school year. Ms. Medina is currently an instructional leadership specialist with the Springfield Public Schools and will begin full-time on July 3rd in Southbridge. And I also want to congratulate Ms. Mantaneo, who has worked her entire professional career in the Southbridge Public Schools and has been an invaluable member of this district. We wish her well in her retirement. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about that staffing update. I think those are important replacements, 2 at the central office level and one of the principals. In addition, we have the move of the first grade students to Eastford Road School is continuing to move along quite well. We will have a full cohort of first graders staying at the school next year and 8 teachers there to work with them as well. Lots of end-of-year activities kind of rounds out my presentation to you tonight. There have been graduation, for example, was, I thought, a great success at the high school. Really appreciate the work that the high school team put into that. It really came off without a hitch. We look forward to events at the middle school, like the 8th grade awards and the dinner dance that will be occurring. The PBIS auction at the end of the year at the middle school, I think, will be a great success, a really wonderful way to end the year and to show for the students to really be able to cash in a sense, on the success that they've had. West Street School will have a community service day. And I think a really important thing to point out, and I hope you'll all have a chance to see this film that has been developed by a group of high school students. The film is entitled Dilemma. I had the chance to be at its premiere last Thursday, and it will be shown again this Friday to all high school students. This was an initiative that grew up as a part of a class, and the students really took it and ran with it to make it something that's very much their own, where they wrote, directed, produced, and acted in the film that will now go on to be shown at film festivals as much as they can get it entered so that it can be on display in as many venues as possible. And if you had a chance to be at the Q&A session last week with the students, they talked very eloquently about the ways in which this film has changed their lives, in the way in which they have explored and discovered some new opportunities for themselves in the area of filmmaking and all components of creating a movie like this. So I'm sure it will be shown again in Southbridge, and just would encourage people to get a chance to see that. I think it'll be a great way to inspire other students to take on opportunities like this by having a chance to see it in school this week after finals. So those are my brief updates for you tonight, and certainly glad to move the agenda along. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item, I think it's 4B, is it?
Yeah.
5B, sorry. Mr. Daniel Deedy with the budget update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have 2 documents in front of you this evening. Number 1 is a year-to-date budget report through last Thursday, and then the second document is the updated numbers on the FY18 cherry sheet. Just very quickly, in terms of the FY17 budget, there is tremendous activity remaining as we close out the fiscal year. In the past week or so, we've reduced the encumbrances significantly in our payroll account, well over $1 million. Now is the time that we continue to reduce encumbrances in the expense budget as well. Given the work that remains, there is still a number of journal entries that we need to be about approximately well over $300,000 to reclassify expenditures, and also to enable the bottom line to be a positive number, primarily in terms of the tuition account. So we are about that activity. I met with the town accountant last week. We have until the middle of July to wrap up the FY17 business. Be happy to answer any questions through the chair if you like.
Any questions for Mr. Deedy? Mr. Bishop?
I'm going to ask you my usual too, Mr. Deanne. I know you have it right there for me. Where are we with legal expenses this year?
Through the chair, and again, these figures through early May. I've not received, at least it hasn't crossed my desk yet, invoices approximately $107,000 and change, 107, 183 and 15 cents. There has been some activity in the past several weeks, and I will be calling the 2 vendors to submit their final invoices. But as I have reported to the committee in previous meetings, my projections do reflect a significant reduction this year, at least as through early May, in the legal expenses. Secondly, in terms of employment, again, I've not seen recent invoices, but we have one that's going through the warrant now, approximately $30,000 in change. And again, that is a reduction from the earlier figures this year, where I was reporting approximately $45,000.
So what is unemployment for the year?
Projected still about 400,000 and change. Projected, keyword projected.
Well, it's closer to 400,000 than it is zero.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Didi?
Secondly, in terms of FY18, I also left before you a color-coded cherry sheet. And again, these are the numbers based upon now the Senate budget for FY18. And you'll see, for example, in terms of Chapter 70, that as the state budget process has gone forward, for example, the House budget reflected a $64,000 and change increase above the governor's budget. And with the Senate budget in the middle of May, we're showing an additional $72,000 above the House budget. So as of now, our Chapter 70 is projected at $21,259,920 for FY18. However, I should point out that that will not impact our budget for FY18. The budget has been approved, and right now my activity is to go forward and to roll the FY18 budget. I also want to point out too, and again, this is color-coded for you to watch, to review this easily. You'll see again that the charter school reimbursement process from the initial governor's budget through the House and through the Senate has reflected some significant adjustments in terms of the reimbursements. And then on the second page, the assessments. Again, one big number, the school choice sending out assessment still hovers at approximately $1.5 million, $1,490,198. But you'll see also that with the House budget and then subsequently with the Senate Ways and Means budget, that there's been a nominal increase in the assessment for charter schools. The bottom line is that it's approximately $718,000 increase from the governor's initial budget. And that is because as we go through the budgeting process and as better data is made aware to the DESE, these numbers are refined. And in terms of the assessment, these figures will be further refined next year once the students are in the classroom. And this again goes back to the charter school, primarily in Southbridge. That's a very quick update, Mr. Chair, for the 17 and 18 budgets. Again, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Didi. Are there any questions from the school committee regarding the budget? So this, I mean, just for a little bit of clarification, this estimated charge is the $715,836. So does that mean that our district will be charged that amount of money for the students that select to enroll into the charter school?
That's correct, through the chair, correct.
Okay.
To follow up with what Mr. Page said, does that include is it 40 students on the elementary level that are going to the Old Southbridge Village Charter School? 40 to 60 students, I'm not sure what.
Sure. Through the chair, the initial projections were approximately 67 students who had taken out papers to enroll in the school. Through the middle of April, thereabouts, that number was approximately 50-some-odd students. And again, these figures will be refined come the fall once the students are in the classrooms. But again, the reason for the big bump is because of the known data as the House and Senate went through their budgeting process. So at the end of the day, the town is to the good because of the reimbursement and the fact, as I explained to the committee in previous meetings, the FY18 budget process reflects an almost 75% reimbursement rate, approximately 74.8%. The challenge becomes in FY19. In FY19, per the funding formula, that the reimbursement rate is reduced significantly, as we have discussed, approximately about 25% and change. So that's where we will potentially have my term, the high water mark for the FY19 budgeting process.
So just a point of clarification there, that means, so it's basically a ramping scale in terms of how much we're reimbursed for our students who select to go to the charter school in terms of the burden to us.
There's a per
financially.
pupil, through the chair, there's a per pupil cost, approximately $13,000 and change that is assigned to each student that is part of the calculation. Again, there is a formula, and the formula does reflect a significant reimbursement in year one, but then that is leveled off in subsequent years.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Ms. Peliquin?
I was wondering why the per pupil cost for the charter school is so different from the school choice per pupil cost.
Through the chair, my quick response is the method that the formula was created, and for the public, the charter school for school choice in is approximately $5,000 per student, whereas, as I said a moment ago, the figure that is driving these numbers here in terms of the assessment is approximately $13,000 and change. And again, it's all formula driven. Why one is less than the other, I don't really have an answer. Perhaps Dr. Johnston, but this is all how the formula is calculated.
Sure. So I actually don't have the background. I've lived with that same difference, that it is the amount for school choice is substantially less than the amount for students going out of district for charter school purposes. And it's really just how the formulas are derived.
It's a lot of money. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Dede? Okay, I believe that concludes the updates, and so we'll move on to agenda item 6, which is members' forum. Any school committee member wishing to address?
I just would like to congratulate the students in Southbridge that graduated the other night. I was very impressed, especially with the moderator of the group, Joshua proved himself to be super excellent as far as I was concerned. He kept everything going real nice, and I just want to congratulate the class.
Anyone else?
I have a question, or a series of questions for Dr. Johnson, if possible. I was planning to ask Dr. Huizenga, is the plan still going forward to introduce merit pay for the teachers?
Yes, the performance compensation model is still going forward.
Okay, so I think it's important to address this in a public forum because I've heard a lot of pushback about it. I was wondering if you could explain the necessity of implementing it when a great deal of research has been done on merit pay, and it doesn't really show any improvement in student performance.
So, Dr. Page, is this something that you want to talk about tonight? It's not on the agenda?
Actually, yeah, this is something that's not on the agenda. I think this is members' forum as an agenda item for people to basically voice their concerns or to make statements, but it's not really a Q&A kind of situation. What we can do is maybe request that Mr. Johnston puts that on the agenda for a future meeting.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Or?
I also want to thank Cole for being on the board. I think today is his last day.
Thank you.
Good job.
Ms. Pelican?
Yes, so we didn't get the agenda emailed to us this week for this meeting. I understand someone was on vacation, but I'm hoping in the future we can get those either in the mail or emailed to us. That would be a big help. The other thing, when the state first took over, we were getting weekly updates as to what was going on in the district, and I found that to be really helpful. So I would like to suggest getting, if not weekly, maybe regular updates as to what's going on with the administration of the district. I think that would be really great. Just in terms of me, you know, people expect us to be well-versed on what's going on in the district on a regular basis because we're school committee members, but we haven't gotten a lot of information lately. So if we could start getting more informed, I would appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bishop?
Thank you, Dr. Page. First of all, I want to congratulate Emily Mantinio on her retirement. I worked with Emily. I took courses with Emily back in the day, and she's a lot of fun, and we're going to miss her kicking around there. She's a good kid. I also want to congratulate our varsity baseball team. I had an opportunity to attend the Southbridge Northbridge game up here on Torrey Road, and I can tell you that young coach, Shane Pajuti, I don't know him that well, but he's certainly an admirable coach out there. He worked very well with our students, and it was great to see them finally in districts. It's the first team we've had in districts in Southbridge in some time. Also, I'd like to ask Dr. Johnston if we could have some type of discussion from DESE on the formula that is used for school choice versus charter school. That's a tremendous difference, $13,000 to $5,000 to educate a child. I'd like to know what the explanation from DESE is. They don't mind spending the taxpayers' monies in Southbridge, I can tell you that. I do. I think the community also is deserving of an update on the situation with the receiver, who promised us that world-class education. Again, at the salary that person receives to be on paid leave, I think the community has an explanation, and I know it's a personnel matter, and we can't get into it, but we've been down this road before. And finally, I have to talk about, I was reviewing the 2015 district Southbridge School District Review. That was the team that came out and looked at us in 2015 in the fall of October. They were critical of many things going on, as well they should have been. I read the report, and I read the turnaround plan that Dr. Heisinger presented to us. And the first statement under leadership and governance, leadership in Southbridge Public Schools is currently in a state of disarray. I'd like to know really what's different between 2015 and 2017. We have a receiver, we don't know where they are. We've had in the past 2 months, Director of Special Education, Director of Instruction, Director of SEL, Director of EL, all leave us. I mean, again, I go back to this report. Of course, the most obvious source of discord has been the inability of the school committee to thoughtfully select a permanent superintendent. The trauma of a problematic superintendent search in 2010 is still fresh. We still do not have stable leadership in the district. DESE's been here for a year and a half. We've been on the sideline. There's nobody going to tell us that we've been in the sandbox with DESE. We have not. I'd like to know where we're going, Dr. Johnston.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Any other members wishing to make a comment? Seeing none, entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion seconded.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. We are now adjourned at, I can't see the time from here.
7:27.